And hello there, good day everybody. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if the audio is working alright. I'm gonna pop in once again as I usually do. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, my voice sounds normal, sounds good. I should probably just have faith that... one of these days I should just have faith that the microphone's working just fine, but there's been like a time or two when like it's been weird and garbled. Until I like unplugged and replugged the microphone, so whatever. But anyway, hello everybody, it's your pal Minsk here, once again streaming Stories from Seoul, The Gun Dog. Feeling a little low energy today, I'm gonna have to admit, but maybe this will wake me up a little bit, this game, because I have been looking forward to getting back to this since doing it again last week, and I know at least next week I'm not gonna have time to stream the game, and I'm not a hundo later on as summer goes on, so, you know, let's at least pop in and continue today, shall we? So, I hope you folks are looking forward to it, whether you are popping in live or... hold on, everything working fine? Yes. Whether you are popping in live to watch this as we go along, or you're watching the VOD on YouTube, your dropping in is appreciated. Taking a drink right away to make sure we have a habit of hydrating during the stream. So, as I've been doing now for a couple times now, let me quickly give you the skinny on the ongoing series Gundam G-Quox, because one more episode has dropped in between streams here. And not much to add after my little apprehension last time of like, oh, I don't know about this. The situation has kind of stayed the same. It's still like lovely, like it's very beautiful, and as someone who liked the original Gundam from 79, yeah, it came out in 79, wow. You know, I still think it's, you know, delightful as a little fan service thing on that front, but boy, this episode especially, like, started dropping in, like, a bunch of, like, stuff from the original series and references to, and, like, strange metatextual story links that I can't really start spoiling on this episode, but, like, it's becoming more and more clear that this is a very difficult show to watch if you haven't watched the Universal Century original Gundam series, so... At first I was like, I think people are like overreacting, like I think it's... You can get the gist of what you need to know about this world watching like that episode 2 and everything, like I think it's fine, but it's gotten more and more complicated, and now it is like intrinsically tied to the original series by the events of this newest episode, which now means that like, yeah, there absolutely is like references to things and stuff being discussed which will go over your head if you didn't watch the original series. So I don't know if that's great. Not to mention my last time being like, man, this is going really breakneck. This was episode 9, and this series is supposed to be 12 episodes long, so everything being tossed out as like plot stuff, plot hooks, and like twists and whatnot that came out in the last 2 episodes, I'm like, this is all supposed to be resolved in just 3 episodes? Good heavens. I don't mean to come off negative, I don't know, but like, yeah, let's say that it wasn't exactly the slam dunk that I was hoping G-Quox to be. It's been kind of like faltering a little bit here in the mid part, but still gonna say interesting, so I'm glad that this shot was taken with this series. Yeah, I will watch it obviously to the end, might as well at this point, only 3 episodes to go, right? So, yeah, and let's see if I will be around to tell what I thought about those once they come out, if I will have a nice stream ready to go at some point then, but yeah, let's get into Stories from Seoul, The Gun Dog. I only just now realized I should really be recycling my saves in case something bad happens mid-stream. You know, if something happens to a stream that I have to redo something, so I started doing that, so here we are now. What happened last time? Well, last time we were dealing with the aftermath of the JFS Gundog having gotten KO'd by that weird energy signal, you know. We were trying to figure out what had happened and what to make of it, and it turns out that the JFS O'Brien, which we were supposed to be meeting up with, you know, which had vanished, had finally been located. Like, its comms were off, so like it wasn't like hailing us, but we were able to find it with some kind of like hit detection device at 300 kilometers distance from our ship. And it turns out that our engines were still knocked out after the weird energy pulse. So what we'd have to do is launch a armored frame carrying a payload of 2 passengers, basically. No, 1 passenger, 1 pilot. 2 people to investigate up front. So our hero, Lieutenant Schutzhund, was forced into this situation as the passenger in a flight with his old rival, Ensign Cruis Hansen. So we had a big round, walked around, checked up on everybody, had a chat with all of our other crew members. Catherine was doing fine. That was good. Catherine? Cassie. Cassandra. Wow. I forgot my girlfriend's name in this game. Oh no, that's embarrassing. I'm glad she's not on this ship to hear that. That's embarrassing. Cassandra, yes. Whew, was doing okay after being knocked out, so that's good. And then we took off, and it was a tense flight with Hansen, you know, was not comfortable. But we managed, and we arrived at the O'Brien, where it turns out that this place has been vented. All of the air is gone, so we're doing a cursory check, obviously, for any survivors, but it's looking bad, you know? Like, maybe someone's managed to, like, lock off in an area with air, or they managed to get inside an emergency evac suit, or something? But, yeah, it's looking pretty dire here on the O'Brien, so that's where we start off today. We're going to be exploring the O'Brien to try and find any survivors. I don't see anyone up that way. Then again, with this whole area depressurized. Looks like these are out of action, just like when the Gundog's power was off. That means the only way to the bridge or sickbay is through the maintenance crawlway. Oh, can we go into the sickbay? That's good to know. We should check in there. If any systems were functioning, I would be able to feel tremors or vibrations coming from that way. I can't feel anything. Where were we supposed to go exactly? Let's quickly find survivors, find a key card, obtain access codes, and find the captain. Alrighty. The map is out of order. Interesting. Well, we can basically go wherever the heck we want, including back to the airlock where our suit is. Well, it's not stationed. It'd be cool if our ship was, you know, there. The Judo was parked out there, but no. You stop as you enter the room just before the airlock, where you'd been so used to the huge main shutter and its warnings on the Gundog. Here on the O'Brien was nothing but a vast corridor into space. Being able to see the stars like this, from this position, you couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. Their light, as gentle as it is, feels like a forced intrusion on this room, somewhere they should never illuminate. You spend a few more moments gazing out of the airlock before you shake your head to clear your thoughts. If there was any hope for the O'Brien's crew, it was that you'd act fast and your stargazing wasn't helping anyone. You begin to turn to leave, but out of the corner of your eye, you notice that the terminal next to the airlock appears to be displaying something. How does this terminal still have power when everything else is dead? You hurry over to the terminal in case it's displaying something important that could give you some hint as to whether there were survivors left on board. Ooh, I hope I didn't do things out of order. I feel like I should have gone up to the bridge first, but here we are now. Exploring here. What? Yeah, oh, that's me saying that, but it's also the character Saul is saying that. Yeah, why is Cassie there? That's alarming. What? What's Cassie's personnel file showing up here for? Hindered by the large gloves of your suit, you attempt to enter a command that would take you back to the terminal's menu screen, hoping to gain access to some of the ship's functionality. After a few keystrokes, though, the screen shuts down, leaving you staring at nothing but a dim reflection in the curved glass. What is going on with these files? You tap a few different keys before giving the terminal a whack on its casing, but nothing you do can bring it back to life. Slightly perturbed, you make a mental note to ask the chief about it later. For now, you head back to your important task, finding survivors. Well, that's creepy. Wow. Are we just hallucinating? Are we getting, going a little crazy, or possibly mind-controlled Dead Space style, or what? The panel is still covering the emergency access... Oh, sorry, that's voiced. My bad. The panel is still covering the emergency access lever. How could they have opened the door without using it? That is a good mystery. I can't figure out why they'd have opened both doors at once. They must have known what would happen. Both still here. Doesn't look like anyone here's done a spacewalk of their own unless they used a suit from somewhere else. It doesn't make any sense to close the airlock manually now. The only thing that would do would cut us off from the armored frame and make it harder to leave if we can't get the power back on. It's a good point. Don't want to shut ourselves out at this point. I'm more likely to find the crew in here than I am out there. Well, if they got sucked on out. Yeah. Grabbing the handle on the suit's container, you twist it until the lock disengages and then open the door. Reaching in, you grab the radio on the suit's breast panel and detach it before turning it on and bring it up to your face. No signal, huh? You check your radio is set to the same broadcast frequency as the O'Brien's, and after replacing the other suit's radio, set yours to transmit. This is Lieutenant Saul Schutzhund of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Saul Schutzhund of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. Alright, no good. Well, let's go up to that bridge now, as I thought might be the good move to do here. So let's have a look-see. We opened up the hatch anyway, so let's go see what the sitch is. I don't know how we're going to deal with if, a body shows up. I'm expecting at some point we have to find an asphyxiated body bobbing around, and I'm just is this game going to be that dark, How are they going to, show that if that's the case? I'm kind of I'm spooked. As you make your way up the ladder towards the bridge, you find your progress slowed by the bulk of your spacesuit as it catches against various protrusions that stand out from the walls of the shaft. Despite having to stop multiple times to free yourself from these obstacles, you eventually see the faint outline of the entrance to the bridge above you. Clearing the remaining distance without incident, you step out from the hatch and onto the bridge. Ooh, okay! That answers my question just now. Good lord, that's not good. You had been carrying a feeling of apprehension up the maintenance crawlway, as you hadn't been able to get the lack of any signs of depressurization out of your head. You knew what was probably waiting for you, unless the crew had been extremely lucky. Unfortunately, it looked like they had not. At the station on the left, you see the slumped figure of a young man. From his uniform and general appearance, you recognize him as Lieutenant Bashir, the officer that Cassie had been speaking to moments before the power went out on the Gundog. Unlike when he'd appeared on one of the Gundog's view screens, the man you saw now had clearly suffered what looked like either a small explosion or massive electrical shock. Oh, that's not asphyxiation. That's odd. The front of his uniform was at its best singed and at worst completely charred, as was the skin of his hands and face. You grimace at the thought of what could have happened as you turn your attention to the captain's chair. There, slouching to the right, was the ship's captain, a rictus smile on his face having seemingly suffered a similar fate. Ooh, that's creepy. It seemed pretty obvious what had happened to these two, but the question remained. How? You pause for a moment. You'd almost put your hand down on the headrest of the captain's chair, but you quickly move it away. If something had electrocuted these two, then... Pretty grim, right? Was he supposed to come in here with us? Oh, sorry, we're supposed to be talking over comms. Pretty grim, right? You almost fall backwards in surprise as Hansen's voice sounds suddenly from your helmet speakers, and he appears on the far side of the bridge, having emerged from underneath the control station on the right. Ah, geez, whoopsie daisy, so Hansen went here. Was I supposed to go somewhere else? I'm embarrassed to admit I don't remember exactly where we were supposed to go last time with the dialogue, so whoops. Easy, Lieutenant, it's just me. What? Never seen what a fried human looks like? You take a deep breath in and exhale, catching the breath that Hansen had just scared out of you. Damn it, Crewis. What the hell were you doing hiding underneath there? Following orders, Lieutenant. Remember the plan? Hansen lazily waves the folder you'd passed on to him at you. Wait, these guys look like they've been electrocuted. Based on where they are, did you check? Loosen up, Lieutenant. Power's not on. What's there to check for? You can't help but be amazed at Hansen's cavalier attitude towards the risk of a painful death via electrocution. Alright. How's retrieving the black box going? Not bad. I managed to get most of the casing undone, but there's not a lot going on in there, and this suit doesn't make it easy. What about you? Find anyone? You turn to look at the captain and Lieutenant Bashir for a moment, before looking back at Hansen. Just these two so far. I've not confirmed anyone else. Guess that keeps things simple. No survivors. We get this box, then we get out of here. What? You want to hang around here a bit longer? This was a whole crew, Hansen. Some might still be alive. Guess you better get going and find them, huh, Lieutenant? Ease up, Lieutenant. I can say this from experience. If everyone's dead, there's no use wishing they weren't. It's not gonna bring them back. But if you're gonna find them, you should get moving. Probably not much airlift anywhere on this ship, even if they're lucky. With another shrug, Hansen walks away from you, heading back to the control station he was hidden under when you entered. Let me know when we're leaving, though. All right, Lieutenant? Ah, jeez. All right. Now I'm feeling really stupid, because I should have looked up what exactly we talked about last time, the plan, as it was. I forgot that Hansen himself came up here, so... On the right-hand side of the bridge, you see the station used to control the ship. Unlike Lieutenant Bashir's station, it didn't look like anyone was there when whatever had gone on here happened. Instead, you can see Hansen underneath it. You hear the occasional mutter and grumble over your radio as he struggles to remove the parts needed to allow him access to the O'Brien's black box. Better to just leave him to it. As you look over the bridge for any clue that may help you solve what happened on board the O'Brien, your gaze is caught by the view of space through the main window. You knew that one of those lights was the gun dog, the sole reassuring thought you'd had the entire time you'd been here. But what else was out there? What had happened didn't look like any attack that you'd ever seen. But what could possibly have happened on the O'Brien to cause all this? Looking out in... Oh, that's voiced again. Looking out into space won't help me figure this out. You circle the captain's chair, looking for anything that could tell you what had gone on when you lost contact. Instead, all you see is the stiff body of the ship's captain, slumped to the side, and his hands tightly gripping the armrests. As you get closer to him, you see signs that whatever had happened to Lieutenant Bashir had also happened to him. Burns cover where his skin rests on the metal of the chair, and the back of his uniform shows scorch marks. You take a look at his name tag before stepping back. Rest in peace, Captain Gerard. Ooh, that's grim. On the left-hand side of the bridge, you see the station used for ship management and communications. You knew that this is where Lieutenant Bashir would have been when Cassie spoke to him moments before the blackout. Like the rest of the bridge, you could see that every system was offline, nothing more than rows of dead screens and useless plastic and metal. Mindful of not disturbing the lieutenant's body, you examine the area to see if you can tell what would have caused his current condition. With no signs of damage, you rule out an explosion or catastrophic malfunction, leaving you to assume that he must have somehow received a massive electrical shock. What could have possibly caused something like that? You knew that you needed to find a key card belonging to a member of the O'Brien's crew to explore the ship further. Ideally, this card would belong to either the captain or someone from operations, as this would give you access to the central computer. Ah, so it was smart of me to come up here first, actually. Never mind then, I'm being smart. I'm not being a dumb guy who forgot what the plan was last time. You gingerly move towards the lieutenant and, doing your best to be as gentle as possible, you pat down his left-hand trouser pocket. Feeling nothing through the thick gloves of your spacesuit, you head to the other side of his chair before repeating the same action on his right pocket. This time, you feel something. With a sense of unease, you attempt to remove the contents of his pocket, whilst trying not to disturb the body too much. Eventually, but with some difficulty caused by the clumsiness of your spacesuit and your desire not to disturb Bashir's body any more than you need to, you manage to pull out what feels like it could be his keycard. Looking a bit crumpled, that is. You turn the card over a few times. It's definitely the lieutenant's keycard, but it looks like it's been half melted. Not only is it warped out of shape, but the plastic coating is blistered, with the magnetic strip on the back almost entirely peeled off. You can tell from its condition that it's totally useless. You wouldn't even be able to fit it into any card reader or terminal even if the surface hadn't been ruined. Great. Looks like this won't get me anywhere. Hopefully the captain's is in better condition, otherwise I'll need to find the second in command. If I can't find them, then there's nothing we can do for the O'Brien. Oh boy. Oh, no, I didn't mean to look, actually. I was supposed to use again. Nothing's working right now, so there's no helpful readouts or anything being displayed. There's no point in me wasting any more time here. I've had enough of staring out into space for one day, anyway. Hansen seems to be hard at work under the station. I should probably leave him alone. I don't think he'd appreciate my help even if he needed it. That's true. Although you'd made it this far, you knew that in order to have any chance of exploring the O'Brien further, let alone accessing its central computer, you'd need a key card that belonged to one of its crew. Let me take a drink here real quick, everybody. Knowing that Lieutenant Bashir's card had been destroyed left the captain's card as your best bet. As you walk around to the front of the captain's chair, you shudder. The shock that must have killed him had left his hands clasping the armrests like talons. Oh yeah, you can see that right there, yeah. His face is gaunt and his eyes open wide. Together with how the corners of his mouth had drawn back as far as they would go into a horrendous grin, the whole expression was unnerving, as if he'd been killed by some fatal but hilarious joke. The killing joke! Do we have any idea if perhaps the Joker is operating here on the O'Brien doing these events? Oh dear. Or the Jokers, you know. That gang from Batman Beyond would be a little bit more appropriate for this setting. Of course, Batman Beyond wasn't super far away future because, you know, Bruce Wayne was still alive as an old dude. So, yeah, but whatever. You know what you need to do, and although it's a practical necessity, something about it feels wrong. Sorry about this, Captain Gerard. You pat the captain down, but find no indication that he's carrying his key card in his pockets. As you stand back for a moment, trying to think if there's anywhere he may have left it, your eyes are drawn to the hand tightly clenching the armrest, which also doubles as a control panel. You remember having seen Captain Bartermuse insert her key card into the equivalent panel on the Gundog on occasion to unlock certain functions. A grim wave of realization hits you as you think that, if the card wasn't on the captain, the control panel is the most likely place it would be. The only issue with that was Captain Gerard's death grip was covering the slot for the key card. Also, how are we going to shimmy it out if it isn't there? With no power, you know? With a knot in your stomach, you lay your hand on the captain's. A shiver runs down your spine. You're just starting to squeeze your fingers underneath his palm and start pulling when, as you look down, you notice the gleam of starlight reflecting off a piece of plastic by the captain's foot. With a huge sigh of relief, you kneel down and take the card from the floor. Luckily for you, the captain must have dropped it just before he was shocked. Okie dokie. Never mind. And I was like, wow, are we really going to be able to access the whole ship that easily? No. Just like Lieutenant Bashir's, the captain's card appeared to have suffered the same fate and was totally unusable. You can tell from its condition that it's not getting you anywhere. You sigh as you lay the remains of the card by the captain's hand. If I can't find a card with access to the central computer, there's no hope for the O'Brien. Right, okay. Having made your way back into the maintenance hallway, I just realized I could have talked to Hansen. You work your way down into the darkness, the dull starlight from the airlock that illuminates the central hub barely illuminating the exit below you. As you continue towards it, you pause as your radio hisses into life. Hello? Hansen? What the? Oh, it's Cassie, okay.
Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog.
Cassie, what are you doing on this?
We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over.
Cassie, what are you... Oh, this is a recording! What the heck? Also, I should probably be like, again, so I forgot the word. Everything's by comms now. We need to read you? That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates and mission updates files now. It's good to finally... What? This is from when...
Roger that, JFS O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog. We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over.
We read you. That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates and mission update files now. It's good to finally... The snippet of conversation between Cassie and Lieutenant Bashir loops a few times, until eventually fading out into static. With as little explanation as why the transmission started, it ends. What would be transmitting that recording? Okay, that's mega creepy. So I just now realized, right, so we need the card. We can't even open these doors without... Or, actually, we can go into corridors, right? Without the... So, right, so... We have the portable sub-terminal, right? For, you know, accessing doors and stuff. I don't remember if we needed this to access the corridors. We didn't, because we were able to go to the engine room's door and, like, knock on it to hear the chiefs knocking back on the Gundog. But I guess to access any other place, we need a key card in conjunction. So, like, I can't really go anywhere, any of the rooms, even with this machine, because I'm lacking a key card, I think. Except if this look was correct. That's new dialogue. Interesting. You go your entire career with never seeing the inside of one of these things, and then suddenly you spend your entire day climbing up and down them. The panel was still attached, so it doesn't look like the bridge crew even got a chance to try coming down this way. I wonder what happened up there. Anyway, yeah, like... We can go to the sick bay if that one dialogue was correct, you know. Yeah, we can access the sick bay from here, so I think I go there next. Especially if someone's, like, in a cryopod or something. I don't know if these sick bays have cryopods, but, you know, sci-fi. So that might be the one place where someone's alive. So I'm going to explore that place first. Not to mention, I'm not sure I can access any other room except The hangar, the bridge, and the sickbay, if like the other places are shut off by doors, you know? So, let's take that sickbay next. I was thinking I should go back to the bridge and talk to Hansen. Nah, we'll just leave him to his work. It's honestly a little bit in character to, like, not chat him up further, so down we go. You reach into the maintenance crawlway and grab a rung on the ladder. Stepping forward, you place your feet onto another rung that you can barely see, and then, instead of following Hansen up, you start moving downwards. As you descend the crawlway... Oh, again, this lack of commas in this game, damn it. I'm gonna take a drink here. As you descend, the crawlway eventually becomes completely dark. The only indication that you're given that you've reached the bottom is when you bring your foot down and you unexpectedly stomp on a floor panel. Now at the bottom of the shaft, you grope around in the darkness, looking for the catch that will release the panel by the elevator into the sickbay. By the way, could we have gone into the sickbay back on the Gundog during the power outage sitch there? Could we? Because, like, this, we were able to do it right now. I don't know. After a few minutes of sliding your palms around blindly, your suit's glove catches on something. Just thinking if we could have gone down there and talked to the doctor before doing anything else, just check up on him. Like, I guess that was an option the whole time, but, like, I missed it, so, yeah. You investigate it with your fingertips to confirm it's what you're looking for before releasing it, grabbing the panel as it falls away and placing it to the side as you step through into the sickbay. Oh shit, okay, that's not good. With no rush of air to indicate that you depressurized the room, you were almost entirely certain you knew what to expect. But what you find goes beyond that. Yeah, there's like this signs of, something weird's happened here with these places smashed up. That sound effect is funny. Behind the desk set to meet those who enter the sickbay, you see the crumpled form of someone wearing a white coat, much like Dr. Rosarium's. You quickly make your way over to them, but as you do, you stop momentarily as you feel something crunching underneath your boots. Looking around, you can see that the doctor is surrounded by broken glass. Taking stock of the room, you realize that the cabinets at the far end of the sickbay are all still locked, but the glass panels have been shattered and their contents scattered. Yeah, that's weird. What caused that? Instead of trying to puzzle out what's happened, you turn your attention back to the doctor, kneeling down by them and gently turning them over. You're faced with a woman who seems to be in her mid-50s, her sandy hair done up in a loose bun with errant strands tucked behind her ears. You notice that of the two lenses set into her round, wireframe spectacles, one is cracked, and the frames sit askew on her face. Although her pale blue eyes are wide open and staring at you, they don't move, and she does not blink. Her skin is pallid, matching the cool blue of her eyes, the striking red of her lipstick standing out in a dramatic contrast. You stay, holding the doctor for a moment, before gently laying her down and, with as much delicacy as you can manage in your bulky spacesuit, you close her eyes. As you stand up, you exhale deeply. Unlike the crew on the bridge, the doctor didn't appear to have suffered from any burns or shocks. If you had to guess, it seemed that something had struck her, although you had no idea whether it was that or the lack of atmosphere that had been responsible for her death. It's 3 confirmed lost, then. You mutter to yourself, stepping away from the doctor, more glass crunching underneath your soles. I'd be scared of, like, slashing open the suit, and venting our EVA suit, but I guess they're, like, designed, maybe glass is not sturdy enough to, like, slice one of those open. It was increasingly likely this is how things would be on the rest of the ship, especially considering the central area had been depressurized with no safety measures engaged. You'd been holding out hope that at least some of the crew had made it, but based on what you'd seen on the bridge and here, though, that didn't seem likely. As you survey the room, you turn your attention back to the glass underfoot and the shattered frontage of the cabinets. What happened here? Let's have a look-see. All vacant. Could whoever have done this been in for treatment? Your patient went wild in here? The ship's doctor. I don't see any obvious wounds like the bridge crew. What exactly happened down here? As you head towards the back of the room to examine the cabinets, you feel the crunch of glass fragments under your feet. Although the floor is scattered with various boxes and bottles of different medicines, there's something in particular that catches your eye. You squat down and pick up an open packet that you recognize. Nutri-Shake mix. Shake Max, okay. That looks like a protein supplement for people who go to the gym, honestly, but okay. As you turn the pouch over in your hands and look inside, you find it's completely empty of the powder that it should contain. Placing it back on the floor, you look around and realize that, whilst all the boxes of medication are all still sealed, the packets you can see torn open are all Nutri-Shake packets. Would someone really do all this for Nutri-Shakes? Someone really needed to get a workout? Or I'm now really worried. You know, no one said that aliens couldn't show up in this game, you know. The level of sci-fi has been pretty hard so far, but that's no reason that aliens couldn't show up all of a sudden. So, like, is there an alien that's, like, really into Nutri-Shakes? That would be so weird. Like the certain, like, chemicals in them. I don't know. There's no one in there right now. No point in opening that door. The door is closed, and since I can see there's no one in there, I'm not going to waste the PST's battery opening it. Good call. You walk up to one of the cabinets with a broken glass frontage and gently pull on its handle. As you'd expected, it's still locked and doesn't budge. Although you don't really need to, because it's smashed. Looking down at your feet, amongst various packets of medication that appear to have been hastily pulled out of the cabinet, you can see a selection of Nutri-Shake packets, all torn open. Picking one up, you check its contents to find it's completely empty. Could this really have happened over nutritional supplements? That'd be weird. Someone had a meltdown here and somehow that, like, rage moment to get the Nutri-Shake caused the O'Brien to fritz so hard that it also knocked out the Gundog's power. Unlikely. You stand over the doctor, aware of what you need to do, but not finding the concept altogether pleasant. The bridge crew's cards had been half melted. If the doctor's was in the same condition, you would need to hope you could find someone else whose card you could use. Sorry about this, Doctor. Squatting beside her, you pat the doctor down. Unlike Dr. Rosarium, who wears his on a lanyard around his neck, you don't need to see this doctor's key. You don't see this doctor's key card anywhere. Although the thickness of your spacesuit's gloves makes the task difficult, you do your best to be respectful. Eventually, you reach the doctor's waist and feel a protrusion from her side. Opening her white coat, you see an internal pocket, and after a moment spent trying to fit your gloved hand inside, you manage to grab a hold of something and pull it out. You got the doctor's key card! Huzzah! Is this gonna have clearance to get into the computer room? I don't know, but it's something. Unlike the bridge crews, this card was in perfect condition. You stand up and read the name on the back of the card. Dr. Esri de Boer. You unclasp a pouch on the side of your suit, deposit the card, and then close it again. The doctor won't have the clearance to let me access the central computer. But maybe this will let me find someone who does. Thank you for your help, Dr. de Boer. I'm just sorry we didn't get here sooner. Good stuff. These don't look very comfortable at the best of times. My spacesuit definitely would not help things either. Alright then, gonna take another sip here at this point. Trying to keep myself well hydrated, you know? Also, I've been trying to drink more water again. I've been drinking a bunch of Pepsi Max lately. And I know it's not healthy to just drink soft drinks, so I've been trying to at least mix it up with water more. So here we have water. I have stuck for over a year now to decaf Pepsi Max at least, so I'm not getting like a caffeine overdose. Okay. Foresight Thoroughfare first, maybe? Let's start in here. I wonder if this ship has a cadet like Dalton, or whether they've got 2 fully qualified engineers. Either way, if we're lucky and whoever they've got is as resourceful as our chief, this hangar is probably my best bet for finding a crew member to help. Let's hope that whoever looks after fire control on this ship doesn't have a pair of headphones half as large as Dylan's. If the O'Brien follows the same schedule as the Gundog, then there shouldn't be anyone in there. Of course, things like schedules never did anything to stop Cassie from grabbing a bite to eat whenever she wanted, so maybe someone here has a similar attitude. Alright. Should I check crew corridors first before the more interesting rooms? More interesting, you know, I don't know. If we could access a room, they might be interesting, so... I don't know. Hey, look, there actually are different names here. Butte, Stat, Ruri, Mark Butte. This is where Hansen's room is on the Gundog. I guess they could be one of the armored frame pilots. Usk Stat. Based off where their quarters are, they're probably a pilot like Haru. Is that standard that, you know, standard crew members have the same spots? I guess it makes sense, you know? In like crew quarters. Rory Way. I wonder if they have a junior engineer on placement like Dalton. Albany Row. If the quarters distribution is the same as on the Gundog, this must be the O'Brien's gunner. You go through the motion of checking for signs of life, but you... Oh, this should not be... This should be text. You go through the motion of checking for signs of life, but you don't hear anything back. Yeah, I was thinking that. We should not just open doors willy-nilly. If there's air in there, like we get the... It ends up getting vented, and someone who is in there is not going to appreciate that. After pounding your fist against the door, you get nothing back except for a dull ache in your wrist. This should be green text. This should be, you know, description dialogue. This is a little bit of an oversight, because this is read aloud text. Despite hammering as hard as you can on the door, there's no response. Alright. O'Brien crew quarters. Bracing yourself with your left hand against the wall by the entrance to your quarters, you bring your right hand down in a fist against the door. You continue to pound your fist against the unyielding entryway, hoping that if there's anyone in there and they have enough air, they'll be able to hear you and respond. That's a good point. If there's air in there, then the sound actually will carry through, so it actually is worth it to knock. After a few seconds of pounding, you press your helmet against the door, hoping that you can pick up the vibrations of someone returning your signal. You're met with nothing but silence. You stand back and hammer on the door, harder this time. After your fist begins to ache, you press your helmet back against the door's paneling, holding your breath and listening out for any signs of activity. With no sign of life, you dejectedly step back, giving the door one final slam with your fist and cursing the silence. Guess we're not going in there then. I didn't get any response from inside. There's probably no one in there. Alright, let's check the other corridors. Corridors. I said corridors. Esri de Boer, the ship's doctor. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you in time, Dr. de Boer. Jala de Forge. Given the location of their room, I wonder if this is their chief engineer. This is where Cassie's quarters are on the Gundog. The nameplate reads Kim Henri. They must be the O'Brien's second in command. We should get in there to see if, like, Henri's card is in there. Although I wouldn't want to kill Henri, of course, so we gotta be careful. But and this is where Vanessa's room would be. It says here that it belongs to Jules Bashir. That was the Lieutenant Cassie... Oh, that was the lieutenant Cassie was speaking to just before this all started. Rest in peace, Lieutenant Bashir. You go through the motion of checking for signs of life, but you don't hear anything back. For all the effort you put into slamming your fist against the door to signal anyone that might be inside, your efforts are wasted. Despite hammering as hard as you can on the door, there's no response. Dabba-dabba-dab. There's no one here right now. Okay. You approach the captain's quarters at the end of the corridor and see the same Jovian insignia as the one on Captain Bartholomew's door. Below it is a nameplate which proudly presents the O'Brien's captain's full name, Paul-Henri Gerard. Whoops, I didn't mean to scroll that. With Dr. de Boer's keycard in your position, you move towards the captain's door and lay the PST off to the side. Can you access the captain's quarter using the doctor's keycard? I guess we're about to find out. You know that you're not going to find Captain Gerard in there, and the chances of anyone else being in his quarters is extremely slim. But the potential that there might be something of use in there, like the O'Brien's access codes, is too great to ignore. Yeah, that's a good point. This is super worth it to check on this, in here. Alright, let's go for it. You kneel down beside the terminal linked to the captain's quarters and begin the well-practiced process of connecting the PST and going through its menus, eventually selecting the unlock function. And now, the keycard. With a sense of trepidation, you unfasten the pouch on your belt and take out the doctor's keycard. As a security officer, your card had enough authority to access every room short of the central computer, even the captain's. Okay, but this is the doctor's card. You weren't entirely sure that a doctor's card would be sufficient. Oh, okay. Without much of an alternative, you slide Dr. de Boer's card into the slot and hold your breath. Thankfully, you see the door begin to slowly slide open, and with an exhalation of relief, you stand up. Once the door is open enough to allow you through, you make your way inside. Hey, nice! I was not counting on being able to access this place, so this is a score. As you'd expected, Captain Gerard's quarters were almost identical to Captain Bartholomew's, with a few small differences. I was gonna say probably less stench of alcohol, but we're in a sealed EVA suit, so obviously not gonna know about that. Like the lack of any open bottles of liquor. Okay, well, physical evidence of no drinking is, missing. In the place of the whiskey bottle you'd seen in Captain Maris's room, you see a neatly proved bonsai, but beyond that there's nothing obviously distinct. Even the artwork on the wall behind the desk is the same. Yeah, those lovely Gundam-looking colonies floating beside Jupiter, I guess. Well, time to get to work. Let's see if I can find something useful. The captain's bathroom is certainly a lot smarter than the pods that you get in the standard crew quarters. There's an actual toilet and a proper shower unit, too. I wonder if when you reach Admiral, you get your own bathtub. Kind of a funny observation. The exact same painting as the one in Captain Bartholomew's quarters. Probably done from a stencil or something, I guess. The captain's desk. Just like Captain Bartholomew's, it's got a terminal and what looks like a telephone. Probably a hotline to the bridge. I think I like Captain Gerard's desk ornament much more than Captain Bartholomew's, though. What could be in those files? Ooh. Oh, hey, we can actually look at the bonsai separately, and the files. Ooh, that's creepy. A small bonsai tree. Regular plants are really expensive back on the colonies, so even getting the seedling to start one of these would cost a fortune. People say that the air in a room with a plant in it tastes way better than the normal reprocessed air you get on a ship or colony, but I've never been around a plant to try it out. Ooh, that's sad. So do the colonies not have those artificial environs like Gundam colonies do, where you have, like, forests and environs and parks and stuff? Oh dear. We should bring this back on the Gundog, and, we'd have a bonsai there. That'd be super nice. Does a plant survive being exposed to a vacuum? I've wondered this. I've wondered it since WALL-E, when WALL-E's in the floating in space for a minute with the plant. So I was like, wait, does that work? I guess there's no reason it couldn't, but I'm not sure. On the edge of the desk closest to the door into the quarters, you notice a stack of papers perched precariously, as if they had been left in a hurry. Based on the same tractor feet edges you'd seen on the papers in Captain Buttermew's quarters, you could assume they'd been printed out on board, meaning they were recent documents. The captain must have left in a rush if he didn't lock them away. That, or they're nothing important. Interesting, interesting. A bed, chest of drawers, a bedside table. Pretty much all the same things as Captain Bartermew's quarters. Just tidier. Okay. As you head into the bedroom, you take the time to look around thoroughly. You hadn't liked doing this in Captain Bartermew's quarters, and you didn't like doing it anymore here. Working your way from left to right, you check the large chest of drawers before moving on to the bedside table and then eventually the area around the bed. Despite a rigorous check of the room, you don't find anything interesting or useful, just personal effects of the captain that you can't help but feel guilty for rifling through. It's a time and a place for thinking about my civil heritage, and now isn't it? Although you can't think of anything important that you might find in the captain's bathroom, you feel it compels you to search it anyway. Despite a thorough examination, the only thing you leave with that you didn't have when you entered is an in-depth knowledge of the captain's choice of bathroom products. Okay. If this is all for nothing, I guess I could take this back to the Gundog with me. Though I don't know how long trees last in space. Although I should probably leave it alone until I know for certain. Dang it, I really wanted that bonsai with me. Selfish, I know. But... Alright, the terminal's not going to be working, so let's check those drawers. You head around to the back of the desk and try each drawer, working your way from top to bottom. Unsurprisingly, they're all locked. I'll need to find the keys if I'm going to get in there. Okay, that's a problem, but we've got these files here to look at. You hesitate for a moment, considering whether or not you should pick up the files in front of you. Although in normal circumstances doing such a thing would result in severe disciplinary action, you reason that these aren't exactly normal circumstances. Anything that could explain what had gone on or help the O'Brien had to be investigated. You take the file in hand and read the heavy printed text on the front. JCF Naval Report, JFS O'Brien, Mission Log 132. 8th of April 0214. Yeah, I'm not pretending this is weirdo American order. No, wait, that is... Wait, I just did do... No, wait, hold on. 8th of April, yeah. Yeah. Americans would have done the weird 4th of August 0214, yeah. I'm not doing that. I guess it's not weird because it makes sense in that, like, phrasing of it. Or no, not that phrasing. The phrasing would be August the 4th. You know, that's how Americans, or English language speakers, excuse me, in general say it. So, like, I guess that's why that order exists in... I think it's in not just the United States, like North America in general. Do English people use that? Like British, UK folks? Do they say August the 4th? Like this, I'm not sure. Anyway, point is, I can see how you could land on that order, but it's not intuitive to me as a Euro-brained person, so we're going to pretend that this is the 8th of April 0214. That's my rant done, sorry. Flicking through the report is made difficult by the clumsiness of your spacesuit's gloves, but you manage to quickly skim your way through the file's contents. You scan the pages of general day-to-day ship operations to see if you can find anything out of the ordinary. As you work your way through the logs, a few curious entries in amongst the expected information catch your attention. Hey, I got the order right. It is 8th of April. It is using Euro order. Hey, look at that, because it's April 8th. Huzzah. Not August 4th. Huzzah. Imagine if this is the one that eliminates, or like alienates, excuse me, all of my American viewers. Is like, hot dang it, he ripped on our order of like dates. What a jerk. I'm done watching this piece of crap. I do apologize if someone's that up. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna apologize all that much if someone's that offended by me pointing out the silly idiosyncrasies of date ordering. Anyway, April 8th, PC-214. JFS O'Brien's routine patrol path adjusted to investigate erratic Higgs field distortions in outer limits of JCF territory. April 19th, PC-214. Investigation reveals significant residual boson distortion, inconsistent with standard JCF drive output. JFS Gundog dispatched to support with investigation. April 21st, PC-214. Continuous sweep of the area surrounding distortion finds unknown object. Not recognized as Jovian, Martian, or Solar Federation. Ensigns Butte and Stett dispatched to retrieve. Object onboarded at 1927 JST. Ooh. Okay, now we really are getting into some, like, alien stuff, right? An unknown object. Spooky. I was gonna say Dead Space again, but creepy alien artifacts is a concept older than Dead Space, you know. If nothing else, at least all the way back to 2001 Space Odyssey, you know? So, and that's pretty old. April 22nd, PC-214. Long-range communications system remains down. Source not yet identified by Chief Engineers DeForge. O'Brien moved to rendezvous point to meet JFS Gundog for duty transfer. Would they have onboarded this alien artifact to us if things had gone according to plan? I don't know. April 23rd, PC-214. Rendezvous with JFS Gundog behind schedule. Chief Engineer DeForge investigating unknown object for potential cause of communication failure. Destructive investigation authorized. Oh, I guess that means ripping the thing apart? Okay. And maybe that's what caused the thing? Like, maybe, like, damaging the artifact was a bad move and caused the incident? It's just a guess. Sounds like they ran into similar issues as us around the time they took whatever this unknown object is on board. Unknown object, huh? Where is this unknown object? I'm a little worried. I'm scared we're gonna bump into it at some point. But I think we got everything we can here, so let's back off and let's go in the crew quarters. Standing in front of the door that, on the Gundog, would be the entrance to Cassandra's quarters, you begin to feel a bit queasy. You've been doing your best not to think about how, aside from some lucky coincidences, this could have happened to the Gundog instead of the O'Brien. Despite your best efforts to keep that thought out of your mind, you can't help but dwell on it, seeing a door that could have been Cassie's. Who spends their free time on the other side of this door? Is it as much of a mess as Cassie's room? How close were the two of you from having this happen to you? Now's not the time for that. You remind yourself, stating it out loud to force the thoughts away. With your focus back on the task at hand, you repeat the process you've been using to check for signs of life or crew activity. Unfortunately, you get nothing back. Alright. There's no indication anyone's in there. No sense in wasting the PST's battery on it. Yup. Okay, back to the thoroughfare. We're done with the crew quarters. Fire control. You exhale slowly as you look at the door to the O'Brien's fire control. On the Gundog, Dylan had his music to keep him occupied. Whoever was assigned to this station on the O'Brien probably wasn't so lucky. With this thought in mind, you carry out the process of hammering on the door, resting your helmet on it and then giving it another go after getting nothing but silence in return. After a few attempts where you hear nothing coming from the room beyond, you step back, mentally crossing this room from your list of potential safe havens on board. Guess we're not going in there. There was no response. Hopefully that means it's empty. Man, I don't know what to think if, like, we actually do bump into another person or not, you know? Because this narrative has been, like, really, like, tight in, like, closed setting, you know, and small cast, small focused cast. So, like, the addition of another, like, person into this, like, I don't know. That would feel kind of weird, but on the other hand, I do really hope that someone's alive here, so, yeah. As you make your way through the gloom of the Forsyth thoroughfare, you absent-mindedly knock on the low-gravity warning sign just before the double doors that lead into the ship's hangar. Placing the portable subterminal by your feet, you hammer on the doors with your fist, hopeful that if anyone's in there, they'll hear your signal and reciprocate in kind. After around 10 seconds of this, you stop and press your helmet against the door. If there is any noise in there, the vibration should travel through the door and into your helmet, allowing you to hear it. I guess no one's in there. Okay. Hey! Can you hear me in there? You call out, resuming your hammering of the door when you get no response. Hey! Whoever's in there! We're from the JFS Gundog. We're here to rescue you. Can you hear me? There's definitely someone in there. Although you're still not getting an obvious response to the knowledge that someone is in there. Oh, sorry. Damn it, the lack of commas. Although you're still not getting an obvious response, the knowledge that someone is in there fills you with a sense of urgency, and you hurriedly set your suit's radio to broadcast. This is Lieutenant Saul Schutzhund of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Saul Schutzhund of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. Doesn't seem like they can hear me, but if there's a chance that the commander is in there, I need to take it. Although, there's a chance that they may not be in a spacesuit yet. If I open these doors now, I risk pulling them out into the vacuum. And there may be something I missed that could let me get the access codes more safely. Yeah, we gotta keep exploring. Yeah. Yeah, the idea is we power the ship up, close the airlock, reoxidate the whole place, then we open this door. That's the perfect plan. I'm so glad that the narrative, like, actually called out this option. Oh, and it even gave you an option of, like, do you open the door or not, you know? I really, you know, appreciate that the game is smart enough to call out the issues of just opening doors willy-nilly, you know, while in a vacuum. So, really cool, really cool. It's really tempting to just charge in there and grab them, but I should only do it if there's no other option. I'll have this sorted out soon. Oh, I'll have this sorted out soon, whoever you are. Alright. One more area to check here, the mess hall. Given the time of the Gundog and, presumably, the O'Brien had blacked out, you knew there shouldn't have been anyone in the mess hall. Despite this, you also knew that it wasn't uncommon for crew members to disappear from stations briefly to grab a quick pick-me-up or treat, especially if their duty was quiet. And especially if that crew member's name was Cassandra Quinn. You go through the routine of hammering on the door, waiting for a response and continuing to batter it with your fist just in case you hadn't been heard the first time. Despite your best efforts, you don't manage to get a response. Okay, not good. Alright, well, here we're at the central hub. We're gonna have to explore the armory and the engineering room, I guess, next. But I think this one's a good spot to take that halfway point recording break, everybody. So, yeah, I'm gonna stand up, stretch around, walk around, get my fill, refill my water bottle and whatnot, and you guys should do the same. So I will catch you all in about 5 minutes or so, alright? Good. So, see you in a bit. Hope you're excited to find out what's on the other side of the O'Brien. We'll find out in just a moment, alright? Alright. Alright. And we are back for the second hour of today's session. Aha! Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I guess I'm not super shocked by this whole weird mysterious object shenanigans. You know, already when the weird pulse happened, like, that knocked out the power back on the Gundog, that felt like, oh yeah, that seems like some, you know, that could very well be some alien shit. It could have also been some kind of foreign power super tech, obviously. Like a rogue faction or something, but like it also could have had extraterrestrial origins. And now, I don't know, I feel like it's leading more and more in that. Especially with the weird noises we heard from the hangar. I'm honestly a little creeped out to find out what's going on in that hangar, you know, given based on those sounds. Sure didn't sound like some guy knocking on the, you know, door back to us, so yeah. But yes, we can now explore the aft thoroughfare after having explored pretty much all the other wings of the O'Brien, so... The odds of someone being in there are slim, but it's worth checking. That would be the armory over there, so yeah. The blast door is just like the one on the Gundog. Probably takes just as much battery to open, too. It's not worth trying to open until I've got the access codes. Oh, really? Move to the armory? Hold on. Oh, actually, yeah, can I just shouldn't move there? Just like you had on the other closed doors, you go through the process of making as much noise as possible at the door and waiting for a response. However, there's no answer to your attempted communication, and you head back, justifying the lack of response by thinking that no one should be in there anyway. And engineering. Just like you had seen on the Gundog a few hours earlier, where the aft thoroughfare should transition into the engineering department, instead all you see is a gigantic blast door. From experience, crawling underneath one of these, you knew that there was no way you could ever hope of moving it manually. On top of that, there was no point in attempting to open it before you had the emergency access codes. With the battery power the door took to open, you'd probably shut yourself in engineering with no way of getting back out. Although you had the doctor's card, with the captain dead, you need to find either the O'Brien second-in-command or the emergency access codes if you had any hope of getting the ship back online. You turn back and move away from the door, making your way back to the aft thoroughfare. Well, this is a pickle. I don't want to open that hangar door, but like... Those keys... The access codes are probably in the locked cabinet in the captain's room, so where the heck do we get the keys? Don't know. Let's talk to Hansen at this point, I guess. You look towards Hansen, who remains mostly out of sight, hidden by the bulk of the workstation. You spend a few seconds thinking about asking him if he needs any help, or asking how things are going, but after considering the likely responses you would get to those questions, decide against it. Probably better to leave him be. Should we recheck the captain for the key? There's no sense disturbing the captain any further. The lieutenant's and captain's cards may have been destroyed by whatever happened, but at least I've got Dr. de Boer's. With that, I can access most of the ship. I might get lucky and find the O'Brien second-in-command somewhere. Oh man, but where could we still go? Because I'd love to be able to... Dr. de Boer, who did this to you? I didn't like what I just had to do, and I don't see much use in doing it again now that I've got the doctor's card. Yeah, like, you know... The fact that they put that prompt there of, like, do you want to keep looking or just force the hangar open? I really think that there is a way to get the access codes and do this, you know, the proper way, so to speak. But where could that key be hidden? Let's go check that bonsai again. Just for funsies, like maybe you could get something new out of the bonsai now. Without the captain's keys, there's no getting these drawers open. I'm not going to waste the oxygen trying to break into them. Trying to figure out if there's like a spot where the key could be hidden, you know. Yeah, we read this once already. Aw, man, we can barely even go anywhere here, you know. We have very few... I think I just went into all the rooms I can go into at the moment. The bridge, the sick bay, the captain's room. Oh, well, I guess we could still go in the hangar. Or, the airlock, excuse me. But, like, nothing really to be done here. Oops. Oh, damn, now... let's not I'm mashing that too much. Map is also unavailable. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of blanking on this one. And there's nothing we can really do here. The one thing I wish we did go in Henri's room just to see if like their body was there and they had the like second in command keys, you know. But not a good idea apparently. I'm so annoyed that like you can't just pick up the bonsai, you know. Feels like you'd hide the key underneath the bonsai is like the obvious thing to do, but no. Key's not gonna be here either. There's some little pixel I've missed somewhere. Doesn't seem like it. I can't believe we can't check the captain's body for the key either. That's so annoying. Sorry, I'm being really quiet here, but I'm like really working my brain here, actually trying to figure out what could still be. What could we still do? Damn it! What could we still do? I check all these places too, you know? Like, it's not like I forgot to check something here. hunting around for like hidden pixels somewhere here. You know. Damn it, I'm just like, where could this key be hidden, you know? Can't remember where we found it in the captain's room. You know, in Captain Bartermew's room, I mean, you know, back on the Gundog. I think it was in her, one of her closets, I think. Which is why it's so annoying that, like, it's not hidden here. Yeah, this is really annoying. Like, I would so want to check Henri's room, you know? To make sure that there's nothing, you know, Henri's body is there and might have, like, stuff that we need. Yeah, like, would the developers have put in, like, a fake choice there just to mess with you? Is that something they would have done? Oh, okay, cool. Like, we'd also knock on the elevators in case someone's in there. Nothing. Yeah, that's actually smart. I mean, that's where Hansen was, you know, back in the sitch on our ship. No. Yeah, I'm going a little bit stir-crazy here because, like, I have been incredibly thorough, I feel like, in checking every damn thing here. But, like, I'm not finding this bloody key. Like, you know, I don't know where this damn key is hidden, if it is. Like, and I think I've also, like, done a pretty good sweep of, like, you know, is there a hidden pixel thingy anywhere? Like, it has to be an incredibly tiny hidden pixel somewhere if, like, I'm scrolling over the wrong item here, you know? So, I don't think I'll belabor this any further. I think I'm just gonna have to give up. Man, all I'm doing is giving up lately. The episode won't be out for a while. It'll be out, like in a month or so. Probably more. Like, closer to August, I think. There's a Trails in the Sky episode where I also, like, I spent half an hour trying to find a hidden thing, and, like, there's an option to call it quits. And I really, really fought not to do it, and then I called it quits, and it was also a really obvious answer once I called it quits, so I was, like, really, really bummed. And now, you know, I only got that recorded recently, so soon after that, me having to do another give-up moment like this really, really bothers me, but I don't really have it in me to, like, hunt any further. I think I did a very thorough search there, and I have no clue where this key could be hidden, based on all the, like, little context clues we have available, so... Ah, shit. Alright, fine. We're going in that hangar. Alright, let's see who's in here. You unlatch the front of the portable subterminal's casing and activate the device, watching pensively as it runs through its startup sequence. Once complete, you hurriedly run through all the necessary options as quickly as you can, doing your best to ensure that you use the least amount of battery power necessary. This is stressful dealing with this thing's battery life, by the way. I'm getting freaked out. You quickly unfasten the pouch you'd place the doctor's keycard in, withdraw it, and slot it into the device. With the same infuriating slowness as all the others, the doors to the hangar begin to move. You waste no time in standing up and working your way through the tight gap before the doors are even a quarter of the way open. Noticing the absence of any signs of depressurization, you continue to force your way through the doors. Okay, well that's at least good. So ultimately this was a choice that didn't matter in that sense. Like, we didn't kill somebody just now by venting all the oxygen. So that's very good. As soon as you're through, you vault your way down the stairwell, skipping increasingly more steps at a time as the gravity disappears, until you're eventually floating past entire sets of stairs altogether. Well, here we are. They've got their own complement of Junos. That's nice. Setting your radio to broadcast with one hand and grabbing the guardrail in front of you with the other, you call out into the dark void of the hangar. Hello? Is anyone in here? Hello? This is Lieutenant Schutzhund from the JFS Gundog. We've come to help. Hello? You peer into the darkness, straining to see any signs of life. You knew that you'd heard activity in here from the other side of the doors. So where were they? That's not good. What the heck? Huh? What the? Big Zom? Oh, hey, Big Zam. Okay, I mean, it did sound like a mechanical noise, so I guess I shouldn't be too shocked by the Big Zam showing up here, but good heavens. You stand frozen in place, unable to move your legs, unable to speak, as the huge machine that has just pulled itself out of the darkness looms over you. It's unlike anything you've seen before. No ship, shuttle, armored frame, or worker pod that you know of looks the slightest bit like this. As you will yourself to do something, anything, the thing in front of you remains totally motionless, until suddenly, something deep inside you tells you that you've only got moments to react to whatever is going on. Okay. Screw this. That's scary. An actual, timed sequence. I don't think this machine's friendly, so I'm gonna do the self-preservation choice right now. Snapping out of your paralysis, you spin around, kick off the guardrail, and launch yourself towards the hangar entrance. Ooh. Exciting music. Within seconds, you are already up the first flight of stairs and beginning to feel the pull of the O'Brien's gravity, when an intense light floods the stairwell. You stop and look down as the light fades, and see that whatever just happened has resulted in a slice through the flooring below, the stairs you just left and the wall beyond them, leaving warped metal, superheated and glowing on either side of the cut. Shot a laser down the stairwell at us? Seeing more light flooding into the stairwell from beyond the hangar entrance, you turn back around and sprint up the stairs, scrambling out of the double doors and into the four-side thoroughfare. As you stumble into the corridor, you grab your radio. Hansen! Get to the Juno right now! We need to leave! You yell as you bolt for the central hub. Hansen! Do you read me? We need to get off this ship immediately! Oh shit! Oh god! I'm glad we got that animation to show just how, how that works, that laser. Good lord, it's just putting holes through the whole bulkhead. Oh god. Hansen! You scream one last time before sprinting down the remainder of the four-side thoroughfare. As you pass the boundary into the central hub, the corridor behind you is illuminated with another intense flash of light. You don't turn around, instead continuing at speed towards the airlock where the Juno had been left. We're not gonna go get Hansen up from the up from the bridge? Oh, that's a problem. Hansen, I'm serious! We need to leave now before the ship's torn to pieces! Get off the bridge and get down here! With no response from Hansen, your mind races. You're doing your best to formulate a plan when you look back at the four-side thoroughfare and see it scored with huge cuts that run from floor to ceiling, the liquefied metal of the ship's structure framing their paths. Oh, damn it! The same instinct that had saved you in the hangar kicks in, and you turn towards the airlock, racing towards the open entrance and the stars you can see in the distance. Really, we're not getting Hansen. I'm so worried about this. But hey, I believe I've been joking about this for a good long while. Seems like it might be about time that somehow we end up having to pilot an armored frame after, so long having last done it and not even really having done it, and that's it, yeah. As you head towards the open cockpit of the armored frame, you try and remember the startup sequence that will let you pilot it out of here. You begin to climb up to Juno's chest, and as you reach the top, look inside to see the pilot seat empty. God damn it, Cruis! Where are you? Looking back towards the entrance of the airlock and seeing no one in the distance, you know you have a choice to make. No, I'm waiting. I can't do this though. This is, I'm not leaving anyone behind. That's wrong though. So I'm gonna do that. Although you can see I left it pretty last second. I was really hesitating on that one. Like, god damn it, man, this is exciting. The game's been like all nice and slow paced for a while. The only real hectic sequence was slipping underneath the blast door to the engine room on the Gundog. But now things are really picked up. This is exciting. Ugh! You cry in frustration, slamming your fist on the cockpit hatch. Despite every instinct you have screaming at you to run, you know you can't just abandon Hansen. Regardless of his personality, he's still a crewmate. Your eyes fix on the corridor leading into the airlock as you wait for him to appear. I can't believe we're not trying to go to the bridge to just drag him out of there. You know he hadn't received your radio signals, but he must have seen what was happening to the ship from the bridge. Yeah, random light beams shooting out all over the place, blowing holes. For all we know, he's just been bisected by an errant laser blast. Kind of like that guy in the early episode of The Expanse. Spoilers. It's not a laser, but like a projectile definitely removes his head real quick, and cleanly. That's one of the best moments in The Expanse. Like, I say, well, I mean, it's gruesome, but it's like, oh my god, when the visceralness of it hits you. It's so well done. Come on, come on, come on, come on! You mutter, your right leg beginning to twitch in anticipation. Oh! Yeah, that sounded like a Mega Man sound effect. Actually, kind of sounded like Mega Man dying sound effect. Oh, that's funny. Damn it. As the beam of energy tears through the airlock floor and ceiling, you barely react. You've made your decision, and you're gonna wait for Hansen until the last possible second. Game's playing chicken with me, I know, like, it's really scary. Like, I wait too long, and then, like, we just get a game over. I guess that's possible. Cruis, you asshole! You better get yourself into this Juno right now! Or I swear to God, I'll...
You what, Lieutenant?
Oh my god. Cruis, Hansen. At the entrance to the room containing the airlock, you see Hansen, black box under one arm, running at full speed towards you. Hot damn, and he got the black box too? Wow.
I'm here now. Sorry. I'm here now. Guess it's a shame I won't be seeing what discipline you had planned out for me.
Ensign, shut up and get us out of here.
Whatever you say, Lieutenant.
In one swift motion, Hansen pulls himself up to the cockpit entrance and disappears inside. Soon as he's in, you enter after him and quickly begin to buckle yourself into the passenger seat. Okay, good. We didn't have to try to fight this thing alone. We get to leave it to Ace Hansen here, alright? Guess we're not having to deal with this excitement yet. Unless something happens to Hansen! Oh boy. Hey, back to this cockpit. Or this, HUD. I love it. In just a few seconds, Hansen pulls the lever that seals the Juno's cockpit and works his way through the entire startup sequence. Even before the main monitor is active, he pulls back on the flight sticks and you feel the rumble of the Juno's engines moving the armored frame away from the ship as the main view screen switches on, showing the O'Brien shrinking into the distance. Alright, bye-bye, whoever the heck you were. So was that the unknown object, actually? I wonder now? Because they said that... I was wondering why there's a mech inside the hangar. I was expecting an alien artifact again, but I guess it could be a machine just as well. But I also somehow I was thinking that the machine was gonna be in the engine room. But no, it makes more sense that the chief engineer would come into the hangar to, like, start dismantling it, so... Yeah. So I guess that was it then, huh? Guess we can assume that that was the whatchamacallit, the unknown object? I don't know. We'll worry about it once we're back on the Gundog. What did you do? 1 minute I'm pulling out the black box, the next I can see a light show going on outside and some kind of laser beam nearly cuts me in half. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not doing the radio voice now, you might remember that the cockpit of the Juno is pressurized so we can have a normal conversation. I didn't do anything! There was something in the hangar, and then it went off. It was tearing the whole ship apart from the inside. So you tripped an AF's weapon system or something? Can't let you anywhere near these things without you causing problems. You're about to continue your protests at Hansen when you see a column of light penetrate the surface of the O'Brien. What the fuck? That's it! It's got to be some sort of prototype AF or something. I've never seen a weapon like it. Tore through the O'Brien's hull like paper. What the hell kind of weapon is that? No idea, but we need to... We would be... this... I think we would be gung-ho about this, right? Man, this is scaring me, though. Gotta think these character choices real quick, play the character, but... I think we'd be very, like, you know, focused on the Gundog, you know, instead of trying to be hot shots, you know? Get back to the Gundog right now! What? And leave that thing out here? Whatever that thing is, it just shredded the O'Brien from the inside out with a weapon we've never encountered before. Our comms are out, and if it takes us down and gets the drop on the Gundog, they'll be sunk in seconds. Hansen looks from you to the screen showing the strange craft atop the O'Brien's hull, and after a moment of deliberation turns the Juno towards the Gundog and sets off at maximum thrust. Oh shit, so it's actually come outside then, atop the O'Brien's hull? Okay, I kind of wish they'd show it on the surface of the O'Brien, just to, like, let you understand that this thing is, you know, it has exited the O'Brien, but I was expecting that to happen anyway, so I'm not super shocked. If we can warn them, maybe Dylan can get it on the long-range system and take it down with the cannons before it... Ugh! Damn it! You grip tightly onto your seat as Hansen struggles to reorientate the armored frame. Something had just struck you, hard. As the ensign regains control over the Juno, you see the enemy machine disappearing into the distance on the main monitor. That thing just slammed into us and took off like nothing happened! What the hell is it? It's heading straight to the Gundog! Go! Now! What do you think I'm doing? Hansen barks as he resumes maximum thrust, causing your machine to judder and shake. As the enemy shrinks into the distance on the Juno's monitor, Hansen doesn't let up on the speed, maintaining the high level of acceleration. The tremors you can feel in the cockpit grow more intense the faster the armored frame moves. Grabbing onto the straps holding you in place with both hands, you pass your eyes over the readouts on the cockpit's various dials and sub-monitors. Oh, that's not good. Almost all of them are flashing warnings or alerts, with the needles on the majority of the gauges deep in the red. Cruis, if you keep this up, the Juno's gonna fall apart! Slow it down! Hansen smirks at your order, scoffing as he somehow finds more acceleration that increases the vibrations to the point that you feel like they'll shake you to pieces any moment now. This is my Juno, Lieutenant! Don't tell me how to treat her. She's not as delicate as she looks. And we're gonna need all she's got to get back to the Gundog before that thing. Cruis, if we get back and we're dead... Yeah, you can write me up to the captain when that happens. You groan and close your eyes, trying to ignore the beeping that started and the high-pitched whine you hear coming from the back of the cockpit. Overclocking your machine, I get it though. I actually agree with Hansen way more than the main character Saul here. Actually, I do think we need to kind of push it to the limit to get there. You're aware of every second that passes as the two of you race back to the Gundog, the tension worsened by the near constant screaming of the warning systems. Hey, sorry everybody, I need to actually step off really quickly. No, real, like, don't need to, like, sign off or anything. Just, like, quick second, I need to do something. I'll be just back in just a sec. Yeah, okay, I'm back. No worries, everybody. Sorry about that. Let's carry on. We got, 20 minutes still, I suppose. 20 to 30 minutes still of stream time today. I think I will be closing it again after 2 hours. Can't do a crazy 3-hour stream today. But, gotta say, I'm feeling a lot more high energy now. I was saying I was a little low energy. It's been a rainy day, I guess. I don't know. But now this whole shindig has gotten me pretty pumped, so good stuff. With Hansen in control, all you can do is hope that you get back in time before the Gundog can be cut to pieces by the weapon you'd seen make short work of the O'Brien. You've lost track of how long you've been pursuing the enemy, when suddenly some garbled static bursts from the speakers and a shrill and panicked voice screeches at you. Of course, it's Vanessa.
I repeat, this is Lieutenant Lord of the JFS Gundog. We're under attack by an unknown enemy unit, and any JFCF ships in range. Please respond. This is Lieutenant...
Lord, this is Gundog 1, approaching the Gundog at...
Curtis, where have you been? Get back to the ship right now! We're under fire from something!
Hansen rolls his eyes as he's cut off by Vanessa's demand. Roger that, ma'am. Gundog 1 returning...
No!
Shaking his head rather than following up with an answer, Hansen quickly flicks a few switches, and you see the readouts on some monitors switch to display information about the armored frame's weapon systems. Oh shoot, that looks so cool! Look at all those AA guns firing around. I guess the thing's orbiting the Gundog? That's so neat. I love that animation. As he does this, you turn your attention to the main monitor. In the distance, you can see small lights flickering in and out. Surrounding a point in space, the on-screen readouts inform you is the Gundog. Oh my god, look at those little zips there. That must be the machine. It's doing some absolutely crazy maneuvers. I love that. With the Juno approaching the ship at speed, you can see that the lights are actually rounds being rapidly fired from the Gundog's point defense system, a collection of rotary cannons mounted on turrets along the ship's exterior. You can tell from their short bursts and the erratic shifts in the direction they're firing that the machine you ran into on the O'Brien is moving both quickly and unpredictably, with the automated cannons unable to keep up. Yeah, I would have been impressed if, like, Dylan was putting out that kind of firepower, Like, wow. Lord, this is Gundog 1. We're back at... Look at it zipping around there, it's crazy.
Chris! What the hell is this thing?
How would I know?
Useless!
You hear Hansen mutter something under his breath, too quietly for the communication system to pick up.
Just destroy it! We've already taken some heavy hits to the porthole!
Yeah, I get it. Just tell Dees to watch that anti-air. As the Juno closes in on the Gundog, you watch the trajectory of the shots being fired from the point defense system, knowing that they indicate where the enemy machine was, rather than where it is. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's so cool. It's like a four-legged big Zom. With a weird, like, cylinder on the top there, you can see. Like, is that a cockpit or some kind of power source? I'm wondering if this thing is like an AI-powered thing or is it piloted. If my theory is correct that it went berserk when they tried to dismantle it, then, like, you know, it makes me think it's got an AI powering it, but who knows? Let's find out. Based on the speed at which it's moving, you know that if you're going to have a chance at taking this thing down, you'll need to figure out a way to get ahead of it. Oh boy. Well, it's doing a nice little circuit here, so we could just park ourselves in front of it. You're about to make this observation to Hansen, but you see a deep focus on his face, his eyes tracing the path the enemy moves along as it weaves around the barrage coming from the ship. Yeah, I think, you know, we gotta trust Hansen's expertise here, so we should not be backseat driving a mobile suit pilot, you know? With a sudden flurry of motion on the controls, Hansen adjusts the armored frame's trajectory, sending it soaring uncomfortably close to the Gundog's bridge, just in time to intercept the strange craft as it rises up from the far side of the ship. Oh my god, look at this square off. Reusing the same evasive maneuvers, amateur! Hansen yells. Slamming down on the pedals, Hansen positions the Juno over the top of the enemy, and you hear a heavy click as he pulls the trigger on the right flight stick. Too easy! Hell yeah, look at it being so dead from our small arms fire. Oh sick, missiles! As the rounds from the machine gun slam into the target, Hansen presses down on a button on the left flight stick, sending a volley of missiles roaring away from the Junior's shoulder pod and directly into the enemy, engulfing it in an explosion. Dude, so cool! This is like the opening fight in Gundam Unicorn, the Stark Jagon pilot going up against the Kshatriya. Even the colors kind of match. Oh, I love it. Doesn't matter how powerful the machine is if the pilot's no good. Ooh. What? As the smoke clears, staring back at you is the machine that you had just seen hit by a swarm of missiles, each one individually powerful enough to destroy another armored frame. Instead of being totally destroyed, the craft looks completely fine. You don't even see a hint of a scorch mark on its armor. What is this thing made of? Hansen snarls, pulling the trigger on the right flight stick again, this time emptying the entire magazine into the target. Well, that's not good. As if totally indifferent to Hansen's assault, the craft turns to face you, and you see an increasingly bright light begin to build in front of it, with sparks and crackles of electricity running along its nearby surfaces. Move! Don't tell me how to pilot! The ensign yells back at you as he navigates the Juno away from the beam that tears through the space you just occupied. Only seconds after what felt like a moment of triumph, the tables had been so thoroughly turned, you find yourself being slammed from side to side as Hansen executes a rapid series of maneuvers in an attempt to escape the enemy's pursuit. Huge beams of energy blast through the space around you every few seconds as the Juno dives, climbs, rolls, and banks. As he weaves through the hail of bullets coming from the Gundog's own defensive systems and the attacks from the enemy machine, Hansen's breathing grows faster and faster. Hansen, we can't outrun it. We're gonna need to figure something out. His eyes flicking rapidly back and forth from monitor to gauge and his hands twitching quickly, sending the Juno darting from place to place. Hansen doesn't seem to notice you at all. Dude's in the zone. Flow state. Hansen! Hansen! What? This isn't working. We need to do something. Don't tell me how to pilot! Stow it. You can't keep this up forever. We need to figure something out. Yikes, that blast was close. As you yell at Hansen, you get thrown into the side of the cockpit by a high-speed turn that he pulls off just as a huge beam passes overhead, illuminating the cockpit as its brightness fills the monitors. Come on then, Lieutenant! What do you have in mind? We should... use the... Ooh, let's be creative. You rack your brain trying to come up with some way to stop this impervious enemy. Oh man, did I pick a bad choice? The main gun, I think, would have been a strong choice, you know? If we could line it up in the path of the main gun, you know, we could just maybe vaporize it with that big blast, but damn it, I picked the Dalton choice. Oh boy. How's this gonna go down now? You just watch it take a direct hit from frame-busting missiles and come away without a scratch. If that didn't harm it, then nothing else the Juno wielded would be able to stop it. Your thoughts race as you try to come up with a solution. How do you destroy the invulnerable? That's it! What? If the missiles won't take that thing down, nothing else we've got is going to be able to destroy it. Great! So what, Lieutenant? You think we should just surrender now? Let it destroy us? That's not what I mean. If we can't destroy it, then we need to change tactics. We need to try and disable it. Hansen glances across to you with a sneer, clearly about to criticize your idea. But before he can respond, his attention is taken by another blast from the enemy's energy weapon, which he evades at the very last moment. Dalton's been working on a compound to seal hull breaches, but he's been turning it into ammunition for the Juno's machine gun too. If it works, we can trap this thing. That stuff's made descent hard enough to act as a new hull. There's no way it could escape. Hansen scoffs at you despite being in the middle of carrying out a maneuver involving suddenly braking, dropping downward through space, and letting the enemy machine fly overhead so that he can fire another volley of machine gun rounds at its underside. If it works! Lieutenant, what if it doesn't? Are you gonna trust that little dork with our lives? Have you got a better idea, Ensign? That's what I thought. I don't know, I'd like the main gun idea still as well, you know. Get Haru out here is probably not gonna help. Like, then there's just two of us ineffectively bumbling around it, you know. As the Juno continues to shake from the strain, its engines are under, and the sudden spins and turns Hansen is making it perform. You manage to lean towards the communications system and press down a button that allows you to broadcast. Gundog, this is Gundog 1. Patch me through to Cadet's Grange. Don't touch my controls! Shut up, Hansen. I repeat, Gundog, this is Gundog 1. Patch me through to Cadet...
What do you want, Shithund? We're just about to send Rumney out, but the launch pads are damaged, so they're coming out the main hangar door. Deal with that thing for a few more minutes.
Nothing we've got on the Junos are gonna stop it, Lord. Just put me through to Dalton.
He's busy getting Haru's AF out there. I'm in charge of this operation, Schutzhund, so don't go distracting my...
Lord, shut up! Put me through to Dalton right now!
Lieutenant! We're doing our best to get Haru out there. We just need a...
Dalton, forget about Haru. Did you manage to make any more of your sealant ammunition?
Huh? Yeah. I managed to make enough for 2 whole magazines, but...
Send it out! Now!
Lieutenant, I've not tested...
Now, Dalton!
Yes, Lieutenant!
The cockpit shudders as the armored frame breaks suddenly, following a tight corner that takes it around the rear of the Gundog and out of sight of the attacker. I guess break as in hit the brakes, not breaks into pieces. Although you're slammed backwards, Hansen remains focused and unleashes a barrage of machine gun fire just as the enemy soars past you. I appreciate the lack of sound effects from anything else, by the way, you know. It's space, so we could not hear the gunfire of the AA guns. Although, for dramatic sake, I would have accepted also other side sound effects. As you recover, you glare at Hansen. Was that necessary? Never waste ammo, Schutzhund! Before the other craft can respond, Hansen quickly maneuvers away, and you see the empty magazine eject from the Juno's machine gun. Grunge! Send the ammo out on a supply launch! Heading 0 Mach 30! Full thrust!
Yes, sir! 0 Mark 30! Launch in 4 minutes!
Minutes? Get it done in 2, kid! Okay, that's kind of funny from Hansen. But I gotta hand it to him. Alright, whatever. But we can't last minutes out here against this thing. This is crazy.
Yes, sir!
I'm gonna ignore it, no point. With the enemy back in pursuit, Hansen brings the Juno up to full thrust as he navigates the armored frame above the Gundog into a location you know has the most point defense coverage. Interesting, okay. Yeah, I don't think this is a good moment to chastise Hansen for his radio manners, especially after we, cut Lord off there, Vanessa. Of course, Hansen was being a little bit extra mean, making fun of his stutter there, but, yeah. The pressure from the sudden acceleration pins you against your seat, but you manage to turn to look at Hansen, the mocking he'd just given Dalton at the forefront of your mind, despite everything. Well, we're really focusing on this. Yeah, I guess it's kind of shitty of me to say that was actually funny from Hansen, now that I think about it, making fun of the guy's stutter. But, I don't know. I feel like it's a panic stutter, so, it's not great. Well, whatever. I guess a lot of people who stutter only get it in, bad situations. So, yeah. But, again, not exactly the moment to call Hansen out on his radio manners. Oops, nope. You watch as Hansen's eyes flick rapidly to the different screens and readouts within the cockpit, his hands moving almost too fast to perceive as he feathers the flight sticks to simultaneously evade the fire from the Gundog and the attacking craft. Whoa! That was cool. That was really fun. You turn back to focus on the main monitor, and see the enemy machine heading straight towards you, a charge that Hansen evades with a feint at the last possible moment. You sigh, thinking that it probably wouldn't be a good time to distract the pilot. Exactly. As the attacking craft speeds away into the distance before stopping suddenly and turning on its axis to head back towards the Gundog, Hansen turns the Juno and speeds towards the front of the ship, moving to the location he'd instructed Dalton to send the ammunition. With the main monitor now focused on the open main hangar door, you can see Dalton, just as ordered, sending a supply launch rocketing towards you. Oh, I thought I saw something weird move over there. That must have been the supply launch. Oh, that's fun. The launch, little more than a large sled with a series of thrusters attached, speeds towards the void towards you. Speeds through the void towards you, and in a smooth motion, Hansen moves to meet it. He deftly manipulates the armor's frame's hands to grab the machine gun magazine tethered to it without needing to stop. Nice. Pulling back just in time to evade another blast from the enemy cannon, Hansen slams the flight sticks forwards, sending the armored frame tearing through space and towards the opponent. This better work, Schutzhund! Before the craft can evade, Hansen brings the machine gun to bear on it and holds down the trigger, the rounds all meeting their mark. Ooh, that's a lot of goop. As the shots land, the enemy machine is engulfed in a sudden expanding mass that billows outwards from the point of impact and spreads all over its surface. Within seconds, the attacker is encased in a thick coating of Dalton's compound, which sets as suddenly as it had expanded, leaving the craft's long appendages visibly struggling against the material's restraining properties. Hey, that stuff's not bad! Kid's done good work. Yeah, well, it actually looks really funny, this animation of this guy struggling to free itself. That's really cute. But we're not done here yet. Hold on, Lieutenant! Despite being almost entirely encompassed in the sealant, your foe was still heading right at you. I would fire a second magazine on it just in case to make sure it's really gooped up. This is terrifying. It does not look that restrained. Where the hell do you think you're going? Oof, Hansen yells, sending the Juno straight towards the enemy. You're not going anywhere! With an impact that reverberates violently through the cockpit, the armored frame slams into the oncoming craft. Go to hell! Oh my god! That's so cool! Pulling out the melee. I was like, what are we gonna do? You know, when nothing worked on it, why would it suddenly work now? But I guess we didn't try stabbing it yet. You watch as with a rapid sequence of button presses on the right flight stick, Hansen commands the Juno to let go of its machine gun and draw its combat knife. The whole armored frame shakes with each impact as Hansen drives the knife over and over into one of the small portions of exposed armor showing amongst the massive sealant. Your world becomes a cacophony of noise as the clash of the knife on the armored surface of the enemy machine, the screams of the Juno's engines as they struggle to counteract the other's craft's thrust, and the various alarms and warnings all fill the cockpit. Go! Down! You! Ah, hell! Suddenly, you're forced back into your seat by a rush of acceleration. Hansen, what's going on? You just about manage to turn your head against the force of the thrust to see Hansen shunting the flight sticks back and forth and stomping on the pedals. Its engines must have cut out, but the controls have gone on Oz. I can't stop them! As Hansen continues to struggle with the controls, Vanessa screeches at you over the radio, sounding more panicked than ever.
Chris! You're headed straight for the hangar!
Oh, now she got all New Yorker. That's not right.
Chris! You're headed straight for the hangar! Change course! Chris!
I'm trying!
Chris! You're going to...
Oh my god, okay. April 23rd, Planetary Calendar 214. Despite Ensign Cruis gaining an advantage against the unknown enemy craft that had attacked the JFS Gundog, a mechanical failure in the engines of his Juno 3 resulted in both the unidentified machine and the armored frame crashing into the ship's hangar. Lieutenant Schutzhund and Ensign Cruis were both quickly extracted from the armored frame and sent to the ship's sickbay. Upon being cleared for duty, Lieutenant Schutzhund is ordered to the hangar to help secure the enemy craft. And this... Oh, okay, sorry. Outer Jovian space. The hangar of the Jovian patrol ship JFS Gundog. Oh, that's awesome, though. Got it there. Taken down. Very sick. Yeah, I'm gonna actually say we call it here. It's a little bit of a short stream now because, you know... But, like, that was such a climax and a good moment to, like... You know, this is a good moment to, like, end it, you know? The excitement, so... I think I'll pick up on this, not next week, sadly. Maybe 2 weeks from now? I can't make any promises. Hold on. I think I get trying to remember my own schedule. I don't know. Anyway, it might be a little bit before we get... Maybe it might be in July when I get back to streaming this. But yeah, this is super exciting now. I love this. I love the pacing, too, of, like... It was so suspenseful on the O'Brien until we bumped into this thing, and then it got really hyped there. I'm surprised we did not yet get to pilot the Juno ourselves. I'm so primed that we're going to have a sequence where we need to pilot that thing ourselves, but still didn't get that yet. Although, what would happen if you immediately took off, leaving Hansen on the O'Brien? I don't know, but I think we did the right thing, even though Hansen was as crass as ever, so yeah. But yeah, this was super cool. I loved it. Next time, I guess we get to cool down a little bit, but also, figure out what are we even dealing with, you know? So mysterious. Very lucky that this thing crashed inside the hangar, you know? That saved us a lot of trouble trying to get this thing inside, huh? So, yeah, please look forward to some more Gundog action sometime in the future. Whether you watched this here live with me today, or you've been watching the VOD on the YouTubes, I really appreciate you popping in, and I hope it's been as exciting as it has been for me. So, yeah, that's all. Everybody have a good starting summer here, and I'll catch you all in a bit later, alright? Yeah. Okay, goodbye!